Today we're going to make a color blocked pave spider arrangement. Now it's color blocked because I blocked my colors of my flowers here, which means I put flowers that were all the same color together to make it more dynamic. And then it's pave because of our spider up here. So I have two flowers next to each other that give almost the illusion that they're one flower because they're spaced next to each other. To begin, you're going to take your floral foam and you're going to drop it down into your water. Now, drop it on top of the water and let it sink on its own. If you try to push it down into the water, you're going to end up with a big air bubble in the center. And that's where the flowers are going to get most of their water from. So you really just need to let it sink on its own. It doesn't take very long, and as soon as it's all the way submerged, it'll be ready to use. Once your foam is completely soaked, we're going to trim it down to fit inside your bowl. So take your bowl, set it on top. Right sideways, there we go. Press the side of your bowl around so you can see where you need to cut. And then go ahead and trim these edges. Set your foam down inside your bowl and then trim the top because it's easier to put a flower stem in a flat surface than an edge. And then tape your container. Then we're going to start with our leatherleaf fern. If the leatherleaf fern that you got has dots on the back, the dots are spores, and that actually shows that this leatherleaf fern is really big and healthy because that's how they reproduce. So it's not bugs or anything to be concerned about, but it is spores. And then we're going to cut our leatherleaf into wings. So you cut right above this V junction right here, and you'll end up with a little Y. We're going to cut several of those. So I'm going to cut here, 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 and then up here. And end up with a bunch of wings. So I will do that with all 4 pieces of leather. This one kind of has a weird, strange top to it. I think I'm just going to cut that off just for quality's sake. There we go. If you have any pieces that are hanging or dangling, you're going to peel those off as well. So I'm going to start inserting my fern. And I'm going to take the 4 top pieces that were like little triangles. Here's one. And they're going to go in a cross shape in my foam. Like so. Then I'm going to start filling in the rest of my foam with my little pieces of greenery. There's not a ton of rhyme or reason to this, but you want all of your foam covered, or as covered as best as you can. So make sure they're all real evenly dispersed. Now I've got a really big piece here, and I don't recommend this really often, but if you have a really big piece and it's larger than your arrangement's going to be, go ahead and cut those off of the main stem, and you can make them just a little bit shorter. I don't do this normally because these little bitty tiny stems have a hard time taking up water, so they will go bad on you a lot faster. But I also can't have it sticking out the top of my foam. All right, this is called pre-greening your arrangement. I don't always pre-green because it seems like when you do, you end up using more greenery than you usually want to. But for today, we're going to. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is make our spider. So you're gonna take your 2 carnations and you're gonna have to open them up. You can also take and rotate them right here in your hand. That'll help open them. And then we're going to cut them just below the second node. So there's one node that's right up here, and then here's the first one that's a really big one on the stem. And I'm going to insert it down into my foam. And I'm going to put these 2 guys next to each other, and they're going to stick up a little bit higher than some of the rest of my flowers because I want my spider to be pretty dominant in my bouquet. So they will just set like this, and you want them touching because one is going to be the head and the other one's going to be the body. Then I'm going to color block the rest of my flowers. So I'm going to cut them, say about the width of my hand long. And they are going to be placed into my bouquet in a section where they are all together. So here's a color blocked section of yellow, and here's a color blocked section of green. And you don't want these all to be on the same height level, so I might put this one just a little bit lower because not all flowers grow at the same height. And you want this to look more natural, like your spider is walking through the garden. Go ahead and put in a little bit of purple. Start my purple over here. And if you have a flower that's like this, where it turns a certain direction, you want to turn it so it was facing up towards the sky and then insert it into your arrangement, because otherwise you won't be able to see its pretty flower head. And use these little bud guys. They're really cool and they create a lot of interest in your design. Go ahead and insert my last few green. And then here's my last color, and it's gonna go back here in this last section, this last spot back here. And this one has a lot of buds on it, but not very many big open flowers. I'm gonna use them all because I want this to have a lot of interest in it. And make it look like he's walking around in the garden, which this will accomplish that. Just like that. Now we're going to put on the eyeballs. So I've got two little googly eyes. And I'm just going to do a little dot of glue. And it's just going to set up here on the top of the flower. So my little spider is going to have eyes. And then we're going to add the legs real quick. So take your pipe cleaners and you are going to fold them about a hand's width down. So about a hand's width, and then we take it and you fold it down. That's going to be the leg. And then you're going to take this and you're going to stick it down into your foam so his legs look like they are attached to this back carnation. So we're going to put 4 on one side and 4 on the other. And then once you have all 8 legs inserted, you're just going to bend the little bottom piece up just about a centimeter or half an inch, just to make sure he has little feet. And there is our little color blocked spider arrangement. And it's a pave because these two up here are right next to each other, so they almost look like they're one flower.